For multiplying and dividing monomials, we cannot add non-like terms, but you can multiply non-like terms. For example, here we have 8x squared y times 2xy cubed. And we don't need to distribute here. We never distribute when there's no pluses or minuses. But when we multiply this, the rule basically is we can multiply the coefficients with coefficients. So I have 8 times 2 is 16. And in fact, I'm going to color code this. When I have 8 times 2, I'm going to end up with 16. The x's, we can just group the x's together. So we end up with x cubed. Okay, and then we could also group the y's together. So I have y times y cubed, which is y to the power of 4. And we can see that since this is all just multiplication, these brackets just mean it's all multiply. We can rearrange multiplication in any way we want. So we're just going to group the number parts together, we're going to group the x's together, and we're going to group the y's together. So we can do the same thing here. We can multiply the numbers, divide the numbers with numbers. So 25 divided by 5. We can do the x's together, x's with x's. So we have x 4 times in multiplication and x divided by x 3 times. So we have an extra x as a multiply. And we have the y's. We have 7 y's as multiply, 2 y's as divide. That means we have an extra 5 y's in multiplication. So the general rule is numbers with numbers, x's with x's, y's with y's. And we have to be clear that this is all just times and divide. When we have pluses in there, then we have a little bit of difficulty. We have to be careful with that. But since it's all multiplication and division, we can just group all the numbers together, all the x's together, and all the y's together. So why is it that we can just say it's numbers times numbers and letters times letters? Well, if we take a look at 3x times 2x and we use our model, and our model is always going to be area when we have multiplying two things together. So there's my length and width, and my area is going to be, we have these squares are then going to represent the areas of x squared. So I've got x squared, x squared, x squared. Okay, so we can see that we can multiply the two x's together, x squared, and we can see that because we have 3 x's along the horizontal, and we have 2 x's along the vertical, and that generates 6 of whatever terms that we're going to make with the variable parts. Okay, so we have 3 parts this way, which is the 3 is counting, 2 parts this way. Well, since we're multiplying, we're going to get 6 groups of whatever variable parts we're going to make. So we end up with 6 times 3 times 2, which gets us to 6. So it's numbers with numbers, and then the letters with letters. So when we draw the multiplication of this, we can use our area model with our algebra tiles. So we're going to have 2 x's times 4. Okay, so what that means is we have 2 x's this way, or 2 things this way. We have 4 things along the horizontal vertical. That means whatever we're going to get, we're going to end up with 8 elements when we do 4 groups times 2 groups. Now they're different groups, but we have whatever product it is, we have 8 of those groups. So when we do numbers times numbers, we get those 8 pieces. And when we do the letters times letters, well, in this case there's only one letter, which is x, so we end up with the area inside. Then each piece will be an area of x. So you can see the numbers times numbers gives us the 8 elements that we're looking for, and the variable parts gives us what the shape is. when we have 3 elements and 4 elements, we're going to end up with 12. Okay, again, this is going to, and it's going to be negative since we're going to keep track of that sign. Okay, so numbers with numbers. So when we draw the area of this, we should have 12 elements in this area. So I have 4 x's along the horizontal here. I'll draw 3 x's along the vertical. And you can see that we're going to end up with 12 of these elements in here. So this is going to be negative, so I'm going to shade these. And I can see that the 4 groups this way, 3 groups this way, is going to give me 12 of the variable parts that I'm going to generate. Okay, so this, we can see that the number of groups horizontally and vertically gives us the number of groups of area, which is 12. And then the area parts are going to be the x times x, so we have a length of x, that's going to give us x squared, so we're going to end up with 12 groups of x squared.